Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, Chris Paul says he's going to retire after the season. What do we make of his career? Meanwhile, we got a fantastic game between the Nuggets and the Rockets from the weekend. We'll get into what we learned from two of the top teams in the West. Plus, we're going to talk about the beef between Klay and Ja.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we're talking about the game that we had circled for all of last week between the Nuggets and the Rockets. We'll get into that in a second, and we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's an NBA senior writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
It's Derek Queen's world, and we're all just living in it.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize.
For a team that needed a center, the Bulls showed passed up on a lot. We passed on Walker Kessler. We passed on Derek Queen. I don't know what we're doing.
Should have traded an unprotected pick for Derek Queen.
We didn't have to. He was right there on the board when we were drafting.
Let's jump in. Let's start with the news that Chris Paul will retire after this season. He's been in the league for 21 years. Is one of the great point guards in NBA history. There's no question about it. But the one thing that is always held against him, he never won a championship. And that is a big deal when you start talking about resumes. Matt, assuming that he doesn't get a ring this season, which based on where the Clippers are, pretty fair assumption. Will you remember Chris Paul's career as a success?
God, yes. God, yes. Look, that 2018, back in, I understand how far I'm going back. You got to understand, like, they were better than the Lakers. The Spurs snuck out of Game 7 thanks to Gennaro Pargo having a bad night and like a lot of random Spurs hitting shots. Like, it was a wonky Game 7. That team was awesome. Then you have the Lob City stretch. If they don't hire Steve Kerr, if the Warriors don't hire Steve Kerr, the Clippers probably get 2 titles. Legitimately. That's how good they were. They ran into this touched by the gods son of an NBA player who could just shoot from anywhere and it doesn't matter. So, like, yes, I legitimately think it's got to be Magic 1. After that, I think is where it gets really interesting. I understand how good Isaiah Thomas was. I do. Like, I understand how good Isaiah Thomas was. I think Chris Paul was better. I think when you watch the way Chris Paul played, the point guard was better. I legitimately think he's up there for the second best point guard of all time.
Chris Paul's career is an absolute amazing success story, and it deserves like what he did at that point guard for as long as he did it. People remember like it was him and Deron Williams were talked about in the same breath for like just a small amount of time, and Chris Paul passed that up. He's done it on a bunch of different teams. Chris Paul's had an absolutely amazing career, whether he's won a title or not. We've let people in the Hall of Fame for much less than what Chris Paul's been able to accomplish over his career. And we even talking about what he did over internationally in the Olympic and FIBA play. So, like, Chris Paul is a future Hall of Famer. He deserves to be talked as much as such, and he's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Very cool that obviously much of his Hall of Fame career came with the Clippers. He's ending his career with the Clippers. And after news broke, Locked On Clippers discussed his legacy and what this means for Chris Paul to finish his career with the Clippers.
It's going to be very emotional, just given what CP's meant to me and, of course, this fan base. But I'm happy he gets to do it with the Clippers. I'm happy he gets to retire as a Clipper. And this was his last game in his home state of North Carolina. He got a nice ovation, but the farewell tour begins now. And I'm just happy he's a Clipper, man. I'm happy he's ending it where he belongs. Gets to say that he played for the Clippers longer than any other organization, with this being his 7th year. And, of course, he played 6 years with us the first time and 6 years with the New Orleans Hornets. So, Clipper, Chris Paul, I bet you he'll go in a Hall of Fame as a Clipper. 21 years, and this is it. Gonna miss him. And I would say just cherish the moment that he's wearing a Clipper uniform.
Cherish the moment while he's wearing a Clippers uniform. I have some stats for you guys just to kind of put some of this stuff into context. He was He's a 12-time All-Star, made All-NBA 11 times. He led the league in assists 5 times. He led the league in steals 6 times. Was an all-defensive team guy 9 times in his career. And he's second all-time in career assists and career steals. And, he did make an NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns back in 2021. That's probably another one, Matt, that got away there. They were up 2-0 in that series against the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know. To me, this is where ring culture just ends. It's just, hey, this guy's an all-time great. And Matt, I agree with you. I think he probably, if you play out Chris Paul's career 100 times, he probably gets a championship in 90 to 95 of them.
Yeah, he was so good, man. And like the stuff that people hated about him was built off of how competitive he was. I think he's the most competitive player since Kobe. Like he is an absolute psycho when it comes to wanting to win. And that's why he was like so hard to get along with, because he was so driven towards winning, and he helped the Thunder in so many ways. Like he's ready to retire as a Clipper, which is honestly, no offense, Darren, but it's pretty depressing. That like that's it. Like that's just depressing. He's from Carolina. He started his career in New Orleans. He meant a lot to OKC. And then there's the Clippers. Like it's a little bit of a bummer. Like I always remember as a Hornet. That's what I'll remember him as. I'll always remember him as a Hornet. And it does kind of show you it's okay to like level greatness in terms of titles. I think that's okay. That's the point of the sport, is to win titles. But I just can't really express how good he was. Like, he was so good at all the things that are a lost art. He made other guys better. He set up other guys. He was a 50, 40, 90 player before that was easy. Like he was so good in so many areas. We need more point guards like Chris Paul and less of them like Steph Curry.
Haize, 2 questions for you based on what Matt just said. Will you remember Chris Paul as a Hornet or a Clipper or something else? Like, what's the jersey that you're going to associate with Chris Paul the most? And then B, is Chris Paul retiring also sort of the traditional point guard retiring?
So I will always remember him as a Hornet. That's just where I remember him. Him and Tyson Chandler and that run that team went on, they were really good. I think when you look at Dime Dropper saying he'll always remember him as a Clipper, you got to remember Chris Paul played 21 years. Dorian's like 25 years old. That's the majority of his life. So that makes sense there. What was your second question, Wes?
With Chris Paul retiring, back to what Matt was saying there, is this almost just traditional point guards also retiring?
I think so. I think in a lot of ways they'll eventually come back, but right now there aren't a lot of traditional point guards in the NBA at all, and Chris Paul is the last of a dying breed when it comes to that.
Last thing I want to get to here, the Clippers have not been so good. It's maybe not surprising that Chris Paul is looking around and be like, yep, I'm pretty much done here. They're 5-12. There's season-ending injury to Bradley Beal. Derrick Jones Jr. is out for a long time. Kawhi Leonard obviously is out all the time because that's what Kawhi Leonard does. Their only win over the last 5 games was against the Charlotte Hornets on Saturday, and that even took 55 points from James Harden. So it's not been going great for the Clippers. Sam Amick over the weekend reported that the Clippers are showing interest in DeMar DeRozan. Matt, is this a good or a bad idea?
I'm not allowed to talk about DeMar DeRozan. That's been made clear on Make It Take It. So add another old guy, I guess, sure. It can't hurt, I suppose. I don't know what you're dealing. I mean, look, honestly, if I'm the Kings, hey, see if you can get Chris Dunn. Like, try and sneak Chris Dunn out of there and put him and Keon Ellis in like a murderous backcourt and go all in on perimeter defense.
They'll look great on Doug Christie's bench because he won't play them.
That's true. Try and steal like the players that are deeper. Also, like Jordan Miller. The Clippers sneaky have some like guys that can help you win. They're just none of the guys on the marquee. I don't hate the idea because like for me, it's just like, okay, sure, the Clippers can't win in the playoffs. Neither can DeMar. Perfect marriage.
Haize?
Yeah, I mean, more old guys. I had them joining the Warriors because I wanted them to join an old team. Why not the Clippers? There you go.
I don't know that I can come up with a better, like in fantasy football, you have handcuffs. I don't know that there's a better handcuff for Kawhi than DeMar DeRozan. They're occupy very similar space. When Kawhi is out, DeRozan can just do it. He's obviously not as good as Kawhi when Kawhi is right, but there's that. Also, his contract is sneaky perfect for the Clippers, right? It's partially guaranteed for next year, comes off the books in 2027, aligned with Kawhi and James Harden. DeRozan, obviously, from Los Angeles, so that would be a nice story in a place where there's not a whole lot of nice stories going on right now for the Clippers. Meanwhile, Rockets Nuggets was a classic on Friday night. Hopefully, we can get them in a playoff series. We'll talk about what we learned from that first matchup on Friday after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. Nobody starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one, remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save you hours every week. And knowing that you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you real peace of mind. So try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnba and get their 3 months for free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnba. One more time, that's gusto.com/lockedonnba. Today's episode is brought to you by Wayfair. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't even have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. We recently upgraded our kitchen with a new high-top table from Wayfair, and it completely transformed the space. I could not believe how fast everything shipped, just in time for the holidays. Browsing through their site, it's easy to find the pieces that actually fit our style, nothing generic, just quality designs that feel personal. If you've ever hosted family for the holidays, you know how much difference a few touches can make. Wayfair makes that easy. Don't miss out on early Black Friday sales. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale up to 70% off. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We air Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcast. Guys, we got a classic game between the Nuggets and the Rockets on Friday night that we have to talk about. We usually don't go back 2 or 3 days to talk about these games, but the three of us had this game circled. We talked about it all week. We have to go visit it. The Nuggets come out on top of a matchup. Let's hear first from the losing side, Jackson Gatlin from Locked On Rockets.
Crazy like overreaction loss. Like this wasn't like a BTA performance by the Nuggets where you're like, oh yeah, the Nuggets are definitely in a whole different stratosphere as the Rockets, and the Rockets are nowhere near as good. You know, there were certain things in this game. Talked a little bit about the spacing issues, there in segment one, but it really did feel like, the Rockets got off to such a poor start in this game, and in part because the Nuggets were able to scheme completely against whatever the Rockets wanted to do because they had two bigs out there. Two non-shooters out there in Steven Adams and Amin Thompson. And the Nuggets were just flat out disrespecting these guys, like completely. They were ignoring Amin Thompson off ball in this game. And they were able to load up so heavily on the drives and the offensive opportunities from Alperen Şengün and Kevin Durant early in this game. And that also doesn't even include the fact that even though they were loading up on these guys so heavily, there were a number of shot attempts there, especially in the first quarter, that just like Rockets had a lot of like halfway in and out shots. Just
Haize, like I said, we were all excited for this game on Friday. Having watched it, what did you learn? What was your big takeaway from that matchup?
This is going to be a very fun Western Conference just season and finals. I think it's going to be great. Denver is just an amazing team. Their depth is crazy. I have questions now on how that depth's going to be dealt with now that Aaron Gordon's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and Cam Johnson's going to have to finally step up and be more consistent. But this game lived up to every bit of the hype down the stretch of it, and I think the team that's better right now won. It doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the team that's better by the end of the season.
I'm not a Nuggets fan. I covered the team for Locked On Nuggets because I live here in Denver. I'm a Grizzlies fan. Jackson Gatlin's wrong. That was belt to ass. That was BTA. It was not as close as the score indicates. Here's what happened in that game. The Nuggets spent the second quarter having not read the scouting report on Reed Shepherd. Hey, you should close out on him. Hey, you should not give him the drop floater. And then at halftime, David Adelman went, hey, you should read this section right here on Reed Shepherd. And everyone went, oh! And then it was curtains. The Nuggets absolutely got whatever they wanted. Alperen Şengün was a little like It was a big spot. Albert's had some really good games against Jokić, so I'm not going to overreact to this one. I'm just going to tell you, like, this was a big game, and that was a bad spot. Like, he did not perform well. He was shook in that game on offense and defense. Hesitant. KD missed shots. Peyton Watson did a really good job on him defensively, but you can do a good job on KD, and he just misses shots. It is getting a little bit alarming every time that we're like, ooh, big moment. Then Kevin Durant's like, oh, KD had kind of a bad game. It's a weird trend. The Rockets are for real. They're a very good team. But the Nuggets without two starters dictated this game on both ends. They have way more answers. I would be very worried about this matchup if I was a Rockets fan.
Do they have way more answers, or do they just have the answer with Nikola Jokić?
It's more than that, though. It's their ability to dictate terms. Like, the Rockets need Reed Sheppard in order to get some offense. But if Reed Sheppard plays like he is barbecue chicken defensively, they were able to get whatever they wanted once they started targeting him. Like, they didn't even really go after him in this game. There's injuries on both sides. Tari Eason would have made a difference here. Like, Tari Eason would have been a big deal for the Rockets. Dorian Finney-Smith would have been a big deal for the Rockets, even though that probably means Sheppard doesn't play as much and doesn't give you his fluky little cute scoring in the second quarter. The Nuggets without Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon. This is always how it is in the regular season, but as good as Jokić was, they got tough shots from Jamal Murray down the stretch. Like, he stepped up and made big plays, tough layups, and a huge defensive steal at the end. Denver's defense, which was horrible against the Kings, like, when the Nuggets give 80% effort, they're awesome. When they don't give 80% effort, they're terrible on defense. And that's kind of the lesson here. Versus Houston has to go 100 miles an hour on defense. And even though their offense has looked this good, this was a battle of like, hey, the Rockets are shooting really well this season. The Nuggets are not allowing opponents to shoot that well this season. Which one wins out? The defense won that battle in this one.
Haize, I want to ask you about Reed Sheppard because he had 27 points on 9 of 13 shooting in that game. Like Matt said, 18 of those points came in that second quarter eruption, just torching Valanciunas in that drop pick and roll over and over again. Like Matt said, didn't seem like they were well prepared for it at that moment, and then they kind of shut it down after that. 9 points for just the rest of the game. But zooming out a little bit with Reed Sheppard, he's kind of having a little bit of a breakout here, right? 27 points against Denver, 12 before that, 16 before that, 13 before that, 21 before that. Like, this guy is a consistent double-digit guy with a pretty efficient shot chart right now. It was a big question that we had after the Fred VanVleet injury, Haize, about like who steps in and kind of fills some of those point guard minutes. And at least Reed Sheppard now seems to be doing that for them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's huge for the team. Reed Sheppard last year did not look like an NBA player in his little bit of time in the NBA, but that's why he's young. He's still only 21 years old. He just turned 21 in June, so he's looking really good. He's averaging 13 points on over 50% shooting from the field, 48% shooting, 48% shooting from three-point range. So if he's going to be able to shoot and score at that rate, even though the assist numbers are low, you're not using him as a traditional point guard. He helps this Houston Rockets team tremendously, especially with floor spacing.
I want to talk quickly about the Hawks because they're one of the teams that are playing well right now in the Eastern Conference. They're doing it without Trae Young, 9-4 without Trae Young in the lineup. Jalen Johnson playing like a star. Nickeil Alexander-Walker stepping up in his role, especially with Trae Young out. Matt, Young's going to be out here for a while still, but how do you see him fitting in to what they have going on? If you see him fitting in at all?
I don't love it. I just don't love it. I think there's certain players that if you're going to have them, you have to be that guy's team. Like, you have to be a Trae Young team if he's going to be on your team. Like, I don't know if LaMelo Ball is that, but it sure seems like it. That's one of the things is like, can you not be a LaMelo Ball team if LaMelo Ball is on your team? Like, you have to be a Luka Doncic team. You have to be. You can't have Luka not be Luka Doncic. And these guys are kind of primed to play that way, even if they're not as good as Luka. Like, it's not determinative of how good you are. It's a play style thing. And the Hawks are playing great basketball right now because they are not a Trae Young team. They are spreading the ball around. They are playing defense. They are getting high opportunities. Jalen Johnson has emerged. Like, he has made the leap. Like, he is their best player. Jalen Johnson is the Hawks' best player. That is undeniable at this point. I just don't know how you look at this and not kind of think like, hey, maybe it might be time. Like, let's just go ahead and circle around to this new. I don't understand why you don't want to grab the momentum. You watch how this team has played. How can you not want to grab the momentum and be like, we are leaning all the way in on this? This is our first chance to be really competitive in a long time.
Yeah. I think that they have to move Trae. I think that it's clear, like that. Not only this season do they have a winning record without Trae, but like I said, I think on the last episode, if you look over the last 2 or 3 years, anytime Trae's been out, they win more games than they don't. You now have a player in Jalen Johnson who's definitely stepped up and looks like he's ready to be the best player on the team. And not to say that you still don't need a point guard in there, but I think a different style of point guard, especially with what Trae's about to probably get paid in free agency. I think all these things are just pointing towards it's time for the Hawks to seriously look at moving off of Trae Young. Does that happen to this year's trade deadline or in the offseason? That remains to be seen, but I think it's time for them to move on. I think they're in a really good spot to move on.
I mean, you mentioned the contract there, player option for this season. It makes a little bit of sense. I mean, obviously they can always do a sign and trade in the offseason, but if there's the right offer out there before the trade deadline, maybe that is something that could happen here, especially with the way that they've been playing. I will say this, they are 12th in offensive rating during this stretch. That's not bad, but it's not necessarily elite. If Quinn Snyder thinks that Trae Young can help them boost that offense into the top 10 without giving up too much defensively, we'll see. But, you know, like you both pointed out, we've kind of seen what the Trae Young experience has been over the last few years. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson and John Morant got into it over the weekend, and one of them said the quiet part out loud. Winners and losers is next. Today's episode of Locked on NBA is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Let's take a look at the games for tonight. Cavs at Raptors. The Raptors 2.5-point home dogs. Matt, who do you like in this one?
Like the Raptors here. I think the Cavaliers have really underperformed. It's not been a really good spot for them. I think Toronto's in a very good spot here to go ahead and get an upset win. Toronto's the hotter team right now. Now, I think a lot of Toronto's a little bit smoke and mirrors. You can kind of look under the hood there to see that. The Cavaliers were stabilized, but until they do, I got to lean towards Raptors here, getting the plus money on them.
Haize, the Raptors are playing well.
Yeah, the Raptors are playing well. As much as I made jokes on Matt's prediction for the Raptors to be the best defense, they are top 10 in defensive rating, top 5 in offensive rating so far this season. Over the last 5 games, they're 7th in defensive rating, 5th in offensive rating. They're hot right now. They'll get the victory today.
They're playing well, and right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks again for making Locked on NBA Daily your first listen every day. The Locked on Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked on Clippers, Locked on Rockets, and Locked on Nuggets for more on today's stories. You're probably also going to tune into Locked on Warriors and Locked on Grizzlies because of beef brewing between Ja Morant and Klay Thompson. Let's get into some winners and losers. I'm going to kick us off with our first loser. I think it's got to be Ja Morant. I think it's got to be Ja. Klay Thompson bodied him with what he said after they had a little beef and exchanging of words at the end of the game over the weekend. Klay said of Ja, quote, "It was really just running his mouth, and he's been running his mouth for a long time. It's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench. It's kind of the story of his career so far, just leaving us wanting more." End quote. Haize, Ja Morant, loser of the weekend?
Absolutely the loser of the weekend, especially like Klay Thompson's been in he's dating Megan Thee Stallion. He's been in like this really just kind of zen place. To get him to come down from that and to go at Ja, absolutely.
Loser of the weekend, Klay Thompson. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it hard when you don't get to ride Steph Curry's coattails anymore and you're past your prime and now you're the loser? Now you're all big mad because you signed this big contract. Gonna show the Warriors. Nope. No, I'm sorry, Ja didn't get to ride any coattails. That's a shame that he doesn't get to have this. Oh, I've done so much in this league because I got to play with Steph and Draymond, who covered for every single thing for me. Oh, I had a big game 6 once. Congratulations. Ja Morant has had to play a role Klay Thompson has never had to. And you want to know the biggest problem I have with this? Because Klay has accomplished a lot more, and I don't mean most of that. Klay's an amazing player. He had an incredible career. He was a lot more important to those Warriors teams than he got credit for. But the problem here is that the Warriors yap. They wanted to bully and body everybody. That was their identity, is they always wanted to talk it. But now, no, it's not acceptable. Can't do that. Ja's out there yapping for his young guys because they're getting a good win over a trash team because they're held back by certain contracts, and I don't blame it at all. Ja Morant is unfairly villainized. That is totally fine what he did. Klay Thompson is your loser of the weekend.
I think the fact that Klay has Matt this riled up proves further that he won. because like just to say that Klay,
I hate
like,
bullies. I hate bullies.
listen, it's bully. Like he got called out first. He responded to something that was said about him. That's not being bullied because you come out with more fervor after somebody calls you out when you're chilling, just playing your
Even
game.
on the court, does he need to go in the locker room and be like and do that in the media? How many
That's
times
the
have you
thing.
guys?
That's the thing. The person that was talking wasn't even on the court, man.
How many
so
times
they say
have you
leave
guys?
it on the
How
court.
many times
Be
have you
on the
guys
court.
yapping? How many times do we see guys yapping? I admit it's not great to do it in the street clothes. Yapping on the court, but then you leave it there. You just leave it there. But the problem is just that the Warriors never respected anybody. They never respected anybody, and that's part of the problem here.
Yeah, but I mean, you're bringing in the Warriors aspect. He's not on the Warriors. This isn't the Warriors.
That's where he gets this from. This all goes back.
Yeah,
no,
but guess
don't be
what?
nodding here, Wes.
When
This
you
goes
win,
back to
you
that
get
series
to, when
between
you
the two
win, you
of them
get to
3
talk
years
crap,
ago.
Matt. When you
this goes back
win,
to
you
the
get to
series.
talk
That's
crap.
the only reason Klay's mad. It goes back to that series 3 years ago. That's the only reason.
Okay, Matt.
This felt like make it take it. And I want to give points to Haize just because
Of
he
course
brought up
you
the Megan
do.
the Stallion thing. No, who brought Megan the Stallion? Clay's just winning. I don't know. Let's get to some winners, Matt.
Too mad now. Winners of the Phoenix Suns. Get the win over the Wolves.
Yeah.
On Friday night
Absolutely.
in the cup game. That was absolutely massive. Colin Gillespie gets that done. Then they turn around and they get a win again on Sunday versus the Spurs. No Wemby, but still good. The Suns team is good. Jordan Knott is doing the work. He's probably going to be a coach of the year candidate. I continue to want to really praise Devin Booker for what he's done with this team. Like the way that he has risen back up here, he's a playmaker. The biggest, Devin Booker is not just a scorer. He's impacting the game in a meaningful way. And that's something that was missing early in his career. Devin Booker has been absolutely phenomenal. Your Phoenix Suns are the winner of the weekend.
Dylan Brooks has also been such a culture guy for that team. And he's out there kind of signing the paperwork for Jordan Knott saying, hey, this guy is certified good coach. Haize, what have you made of this Phoenix Suns little hot stretch here?
Yeah, no, the Phoenix Suns are a good team. You guys know I was a doubter coming in. They play really good. I don't know if they're going to keep this up the whole season, but they are playing really, really well right now. Devin Booker's back to looking like a guy that's enjoying playing basketball. This is how he looked when Chris Paul first got there, and then they went to the finals. And then not to say that he looked bad, but it was different. Now you've seen a Devin Booker that's a lot more locked in. He's having fun. His team's winning. Devin Booker's playing great right now.
Haize, hit me with a winner or a loser.
A loser of the weekend. The Denver Nuggets losing Aaron Gordon. He's so huge to that team. I think they're like a plus 28, 25, something like that. When he's on the court, he has an estimated wins added of 35. He's the most impactful player on that team, not named Nikola Jokić. To lose him, you already had Christian Braun down, who you would kind of more naturally think to step into that role and take on a little bit more of that. Hopefully he's going to be Cam Johnson. That's what they traded for him for, but he hasn't really been great this season so far.
I would correct you and tell you that it's Christian Brown, but Westwood just said, no, Haize said it, so that's how we pronounce it now. It's Christian Brown. Look, AG's a big miss, but it's going to be fine. They're going to be fine without him. A lot of this is AG's my guy. I love AG. I love everything about AG. His sacrifices is that is the definition of a guy that understood who's at a fork in his career and chose winning over personal glory and putting up numbers. Jeremy Grant. So there's this I have so much respect for AG, but the Nuggets are deep enough and they have this thing. A lot of the on-off numbers are impacted because AG is basically tethered to Yoke. He plays most of his minutes with Yoke because they don't play him in the small ball lineup at center without Yoke a lot. So some of his plus minus is impacted by that. It turns out that basically if you play next to Nikola Jokić, your plus minus is really good. That's pretty much what happens. Their schedule is middling. It's not terrible. It's not awesome for them. They'll be fine without AG until he gets back. Brown should be back in about 1 to 2 weeks. Sorry, Braun, since Haize said it.
Not only is it Christian Braun now, but it's also Bruce Braun. We're just going to change his name too. Matt, who's with Brown out and with Gordon out though, who are the guys on that bench that need to step up? Not only just in terms of, new starting lineup stuff, but who are you looking at?
I mean, they're going to call up Deron Holmes and see if they can get him some minutes. They tried Zignaji. That was a disaster. They tried Hunter Tyson. Shocker. That was a disaster. Spencer Jones is going to play a lot more. He was bad in the game versus the Kings because everybody was bad because they were all exhausted. But Jones has proven to be a really effective defender. He took Reed Sheppard out of that game the other night. They just put him on him and were like, hey, don't let him score. And Jones was like, cool, no problem. He actually can shoot. He's hesitant because he doesn't want to screw anything up. Nuggets fans are like, he scored 1 point. He's not shooting because he's always like, why would I shoot? I have Nikola Jokić and Jamal Murray. As he gets more comfortable, and they will tell him, like, you have to score, you have to shoot. He actually can. Numbers in G League were terrific. Spencer Jones is going to be a little bit of a surprise over the next couple of weeks. He's awesome.
Anybody have a winner so we can end it on a high note? I have a winner.
I will also go Detroit Pistons, man.
Oh, of course.
Pistons keep rolling.
They're the official team of Locked On NBA Daily. Can we just talk about the Pistons every day?
I mean, we're going to have to at some point start talking about, like, no. Is this actually the best team in the Eastern Conference? Because last year it was like, well, okay, the Cavaliers are off to a good start, but then by the end of it, it was like, no, the Cavaliers are the best team in the Eastern Conference, right? It was like, well, Boston might win in the playoffs, but it's Cleveland. We're getting there with Detroit. The numbers behind them are not as good yet. The numbers still say that teams like the Cavaliers and the Knicks are better. But when I watch the Pistons play, I'm just like, you don't want to mess with this team, man. They're so good.
They've been doing a lot of it without Tobias Harris, without Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey. Like, these guys are going to come back, and presumably the Pistons will be even better. My winner from the weekend, the Miami Heat. They're winning 4 straight. They've won 4 straight games, rather. They got wins over the Bulls and the Sixers over the weekend. But the real reason they're the winner, Tyler Hero, coming back tonight. Maybe something to talk about on tomorrow's episode of Locked On NBA Daily. That'll do it for us today. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.